Good morning, my Scorpio minds, to another vlog. Today I'm super busy because it's almost Christmas and I have a lot of projects that need to be done. And today I have to take 11 pictures for this brand, Oatsum, and I need to prepare all of the smoothie bowls. I still need to take pictures of the topping. And they're also selling coconut bowls with the spoons, so I also need to take pictures of that. And I thought, since I need to take that many pictures, it would be amazing to show you guys how I do it, and then also show you guys how I use Photoshop to get them to the look I want, because I've been asked that 100 times probably, and I never did like a little tutorial. So this is it. Let's start with the setup. It's gonna be super easy because they want it to be clean and white and gray, and like there's not much distraction. So yeah, I just have my table over here. Usually the table is right here when I work, but for my photos, because I have the big windows over here, it's perfect like this. And I also need to take this curtain to the other side. And it's always stuck. I need to find another solution for it, because this one right here, like I can't get it out, but it's not in the right way. And it all gets stuck. IKEA, what are you doing? And sorry for the noises, I'm just washing my clothes. The first bowl is a peanut bowl. It smells amazing. Okay, that's enough. As for food styling, I love to keep it super simple as well. I just love to add a couple of details so that the eye is drawn to things other than just looking at like the plain smoothie. So these little puffed quinoa things are perfect because they look really pretty, and there's some more texture in the whole photo afterwards. Okay, I got my spoon props over here. I think I'm just gonna take this one. And I need to mount my camera on the tripod, but first, maybe this is just a me thing, but I love to format my card prior to starting a new job or a new day, so that I have the feeling of like a fresh camera and fresh start. I know, maybe it's weird, maybe you get me. And if you're working for a client, they usually tell you what they want. So here they said they want it, as I said before, clean and white and gray, and also the angle, they want it from a little bit more above, as I also did some product shots which were from like the hero angle, so just like straight up. I do also have a shooting plan with like a mood board, mood photo, so I know what I have to do and when I have to do it. And I do also have my bounce card over here so that the shadows aren't as dark. I'm just gonna place it on the table like this. And then what I'm doing, I'm just looking through my sensor, and then I can just rearrange all the things as I go. I feel like the little jar over here, this one is interfering with the bowl, so I can just move it around, and also the spoon is not where I want it. So this is perfect when you have a tripod, so your picture frame doesn't move, but you can move the objects in between, which is pretty practical. See, this is so much better already, but now I have too much space here on the plate. So let's just move it in like a little bit, and this is really good as well. Now you can see here that they're like on the product, that you can see the writing, which I don't really want to have in my picture, so I'm gonna scooch it over a little bit, take this away. Now I'm pretty happy already. Take the picture. If you do it like this, you could easily just take one picture and be happy with it. You just kind of have to play around with the composition a little bit. I do have these lines. If I'm really lost, I can orientate myself on these, but you see that the cloth is like following this line, and then also from the spoon till the product is following this line. I'm not too happy with this one right here, so I think I'm gonna move it just a bit, maybe so that it's following this line just a tiny bit. There you go. I'm already quite happy with it, but while you're shooting you also need to keep in mind what you're shooting it for. So I am doing it for Instagram. The proportion is 4:5 and not like here, so I always need to think that there's gonna be a little bit of crop either on the top or on the bottom or both. And that's where a tripod comes in handy as well, because I love to shoot with ISO 100, that's the best, and the picture is gonna be super crisp. If you shoot at a lower ISO, there's gonna be like some blurriness in it. Some people like it, but if you go too high, it's just overwhelming. And I love to have some bokeh in the picture so that this is crisp and sharp, but then here this is unsharp. So right now it's at 3.5, which is pretty good, but I'm gonna reduce it to 3.2. No, let's do 3.2 because I don't want the smoothie bowl to be unsharp. Also gonna reduce the shutter speed to 25. And for that reason a tripod is also really nice, because then you can set ISO to 100 and then you can go down to like 25 shutter speed or something like that, or even lower. Because when you don't have a tripod, I recommend using 125 shutter speed or higher, because you're always shaking somewhat and then the picture is gonna turn out blurry, and you don't want that. But with a tripod, and I also have the setting that I push the button and it waits for 2 seconds, so it's gonna be not blurry at all. But I also have a Fernauslöser, how do you say that? Oh my god, my brain is dead. So I can plug it in my camera and there's a cord, and then I can just push the button like away from the camera so that the camera is not affected at all, it's not shaky and stuff, which is also really handy. I actually use that on my burger photo shoot, which I uploaded 2 days ago maybe. But yeah, that's already it. I took my picture, which took not that long, like 10 minutes maybe, because when you have the settings right and you have the light right and stuff like that, it's just not gonna take a long time. And this is not a crazy setup. I just looked at the picture and I decided to go back to the lens opening of 5 and then the shutter speed of 10, because I wanted the bowl to be much clearer. Alright, I will see you in Photoshop. Alright, let's do this, guys. I've never done like a screen recording thing, so it's really new, but let's start. I do have my raw file right here from the picture we shot earlier. I already edited the other pictures, so I can show you the result if you want to. And I always shoot in raw because then you have like all the spectrum, all the details, all the colors, all the shadows still in there, and you can tweak them how you want to. You just shoot in JPEG, it's okay, but it's, first of all the colors are kind of squished together, and there's also already a sharpening on there and everything. So I prefer to shoot in raw, and then if you shot it too light or too dark, you can still bring back all of the details. It has limits though, but it's really awesome. So let's just open it. And I do always edit my photos in Photoshop. You can also use Lightroom. It's a little bit different. They're not like, they have different things you can play around with, but the essential thing is the same. But I just love to use Photoshop after. So this is the camera raw thing where you can also tweak a lot of stuff. It's a little bit like Lightroom. What I love to do here is you have here the profile and you can choose something. So what I choose here, because I wanted to have a little bit more of a crisp, of a contrast, I'm selecting the Adobe Vivid. Here you can see the difference already. But if you want to, you can also go down here and see if there's like something you like already. The thing I love as well is back at the vintage, and it's this one. You see it gives a little bit of a mood, and if you select it, you can scale it up or scale it down. Usually when I use the vintage 6, I'm at around like 30% something-ish. But for this picture, I'm choosing the Adobe Vivid because it gives it a little bit more of a life. Then you have the white balance right here. If you choose auto, it kind of says, or it kind of calculates the overall color temperature. I don't really like it that much because it's always too warm for my understanding. I love it to be a little bit cooler. Let's turn it down. Then the exposure, it's already pretty light, so I'm only gonna put it a little bit up. Contrast up. So this is, you have to be super careful with contrast because if you overdo it, it's just not gonna look pretty. So I just like around plus, let's do +7 here, +6. Highlights, I almost always scale them down. Shadows, almost always scale them up. Whites, a little bit up, and blacks, a little bit down. What this does, it just gives you even more contrast. And here also with the clarity, be super careful. I usually go around +4. Dehaze, some like it, some don't. It's essentially just like kind of darkening the picture a little bit. +5 is good. Vibrance, I'm always scaling it up, and saturation, scaling it down. Saturation can be too much if you bring it up, and I love my pictures to be a little bit desaturated, at least at first. So this is like the basic color correction, and if you go down here, you can switch back and forth, and I do really like the result I am getting here. Let's move on to tone curve. This is also for the contrast, so here you can bring the highlights up and the shadows down, and I'm always going for like a small S curve. So you can see you're bringing the highlights down again, and here you're bringing the shadows. Like, it's gonna be a little bit dull, but I like the effect, so just like a little tiny S curve. What I also love to do is go into the blues. So now you're tweaking the blues, and I'm taking the middle point and just pushing it up just a tiny bit, because I love my pictures to be a bit more on the bluish side. Let's go to the detail. I'm always sharpening the pictures a little bit, and masking is really nice. If you press Alt, you can see where the sharpening is happening. So here it's like just the whole picture, and the more you go to the right side, the more it's just gonna go into the details. So I'm usually around like 50%. And luminance is really helpful if you shot at a high ISO rate and you want to get the details back. So now I shot with ISO 100, so there's not much of a difference, but if you shot at like 1600 or something, they're like little dots in the middle everywhere, and if you bring luminance up, they're just gonna disappear. So it's a really nice trick to yeah, get rid of the noisiness. Alright, now here you can go into the different colors. You just move the sliders to whichever side you want, and I always just try it out and see what looks good on the picture. Saturation. This is how colorful your colors are going to be. Like, this is super crazy and this is like almost gray. So this is just up to you, just how you like it. But I wouldn't go too crazy on it. What I also love to do is just bring all of the blues down, because when you're shooting with natural light, the sun can kind of give you that bluish undertone on your surfaces. So I'm just gonna bring it up, bring it down, and don't worry too much about the blues in the blueberries. You could use a mask, like select the blues and then bring it up again, but I'm just too lazy. I'm gonna do it afterwards in Photoshop. Alright, the highlights. I love the highlights to be a bit on the warmer side and the shadows a bit on the bluer side, but this is also up to you what you like. This looks good. Lens correction, just gonna remove chromatic aberration, grain. This is how you can bring back a little bit of the grain. This is kind of how a high ISO looks like. Kind of. If you're shooting at like, I don't know, 2000 ISO, this is what it's gonna look like. But for some pictures it's nice, and I also bring it up just like a tiny bit to get a bit more texture in the picture and it doesn't look flat. Alright, vignetting. This is also really nice. This brings like the attention more to the center of the picture, but don't overdo it. Just a tiny bit. And I love this one so much, the calibration. I just play around with it and see what I like and what it does to my colors. It's actually pretty cool. So here it's affecting all the red colors. It's affecting it's a little bit different for every picture, but I like it. So now you have the before and the after. It's already looking better. So let's open it, and it's gonna automatically open up in Photoshop. And if you've already worked with Photoshop, then you know how to do stuff. But here on the left side, these little things are the crop thing, and you can choose your ratio. So for Instagram it's 4:5, and then you have this little window over here. You can turn it and just place it however you want to. Now here's the problem, that I don't have enough space right here, but it's not a problem, it's okay. I'm just gonna crop it like this, and then I can drag a ruler out here. If you don't have the rulers, Commando R, and they're gonna disappear or come back. So now I'm pushing Commando T, and with Command you can get like this little white arrow, and then you can drag it out and drag it in, just like transform one edge at a time. And what I want to do is I want to create a perpendicular line over here, so that it doesn't look that the box is like not straight. Alright, now this is looking good. Now the bowl is kind of looking off a little bit, so I'm just gonna take this one right here, drag it up, maybe extend it a bit. Maybe you're like, how the hell do you see it? But the more you do it and the more you pay attention to composition and how things look in perspective, the easier it will get, trust me. So now the box and the bowl are looking nice, but this thing over here doesn't. So I'm just gonna press Commando J to make a duplication. I'll go to liquify. What this does, it allows you to tweak certain pixels in your picture individually. That's also how you can make yourself skinnier or more muscular. So it shouldn't be too big, your circle over here, and then just super carefully you can just like bring it in or bring it out or whatever you want to do. Alright. Here you go, looking better already. Sweet. So the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna group them. Commando Shift E, and then Commando J to make another copy layer, because I want to keep the original one in case I mess up the one I'm working with. It doesn't usually happen on like basic correction like this, but sometimes if you're doing something more crazy, you wish you had a copy of the original one. Alright, let's get into it. Levels. I love levels so much. It just brings out the contrast. It's all about the contrast, guys. So this is the dark, the blacks in the picture, and it brings it down, and this is the light in the picture and it brings it up. Yeah, looking nice. I'm also gonna go to brightness contrast. I'm bringing up the contrast just a little bit. We'll see if it, yeah, we'll bring the light up a little bit, the brightness. I go to color lookup. This is pretty cool. There are some presets over here, and you can like choose whichever you want. They're most of the time just too crazy. But the thing I love is the Kodak 5218. And of course 100% is just way too much, so I'm always scaling it down to like, depending on the picture. I think this time 10% works. Can you see the little difference? It's just like a little bit, a little lighter, a little cooler also. And oh, let's get to selective color. I love this tool so much. I made myself a little preset. It's the 01 over here, and what it does is, well, we can go through it on the blacks. See, I brought the cyan, so the blues up, that the shadow is a bit more in the black, on the blue side, and then you can just play around with it and see what you like. It's actually one of my favorite tools, and what it does, you can tweak the colors in there separately. So if you just go to the yellows over here and you don't want them to be so red, you can just like go and remove the reds or bring more blue. I feel like the level over here is a little bit too crazy, so you can go to opacity and just change it until you like it. Okay, now do you see how here there's an orange hue, here there's a green hue, this is just too yellow, and here it's like a little bit blue still. So I'm gonna go over to this tool, click on it and like keep pressed, and go to the sponge tool. What this does, it's either desaturating or saturating, and the flow, I love to put it at like 20. And then you can just go over it and see how the orange hue is disappearing. It's magic, guys. Alright, I'm also gonna reduce the green hue over here, because I just don't like it, and the eye is just drawn to different colors, and I want that the eye is just drawn to the bowl. So this is also a bit too yellow. I'm just gonna press 1, then you can see here the flow is reduced to 10, and I'm gonna go over it and remove the yellow where I don't want it. Just easy as that. Gonna go back to 20%, pressing 2, and I'm also removing the color on the cloth over here and the color on the table. Alright, so it's looking nice. I'm gonna go to the same tool, press and hold until you get the little menu box over here, burn tool. I'm selecting midtones, 10%, and if you do the right click, you can get to the little menu over here. Hardness is always 0% for me, and then just reduce it until it's the size you want it. And I'm just enhancing the shadows a little bit where I want them to be enhanced, just to bring a little bit more depth to the whole picture. And also the bowl is pretty light, so I'm just gonna make it a tiny bit darker again. Okay. Again, press and hold Dodge tool makes everything lighter. It's gonna make the bowl, the inside of the bowl lighter so that you're really drawn to it. And maybe also this thing over here that you don't really see it that much. This is really a preference thing. Some like it to be super dark, some like it to be super light, or yeah, I'm just gonna show you how I do it. I love light pictures right now. Okay, let's see the before and after already. I love it so much more. Okay, one last thing to do. I'm just gonna make a new layer. You do it by clicking on here. And I'm gonna change the opacity mode to color over here. And what it does is when you color in with a brush, so press B for brush over here, and then I'm also gonna set it to 10%, pressing 1, you can color your berries in, for example, or just change the overall color of something. And what I like about this like blending mode color is that it's really just affecting the color, and it's not affecting the opacity, or it's not affecting like the light. Whereas if you were to be just only making a new layer and painting just like this, it wouldn't look the same. It would affect everything. It's just like a layer on top of a layer. But as soon as you change it to color, see, it's magic, and I love it so much. Okay, let's continue going back to 10% and just coloring in the blueberries a little bit. And the good thing about playing around with layers is that if you overdid it, just like this one, this blueberry is a little bit too crazy, you can get your eraser, press E, make the brush a little bit bigger, and then you can just remove it. Because you're not painting on your actual layer, you're just painting on like the color layer. Then you could also remove it if you wanted to. Let's go back to the brush. There's some more blueberries left. And what you can also do with the color layer is, because my bananas are a little bit yellow, I'm just gonna choose with my eyedropper tool. This is I, just one neutral color of the banana, and B, with B going back to the brush, I'm gonna choose 20% opacity. I'm just gonna color the banana in, and see, the crazy yellow color is gone. I don't know why, but I really don't like yellows in my pictures. It's just weird. Alright, let's go back to the burn tool. And the bananas need a little bit more structure. Oh yeah. Go back to your layer, of course. Awesome. Now I see that there's like a little bit of stuff going on right here. With J, you can go to the spot healing brush tool. It's the first one right here. And then you can paint over the spots you want to remove. It's not always working, but if there's like surface that's not too busy, you can always try it. Sometimes it does weird things. But it's good to remove pimples or something. See? And it's gone. Sweet. This is my finished picture, I would say. It's before and after. Alright, I'm gonna group everything, Commando Shift E. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put an unsharp mask on top. Amount is around 50%. This is, yeah, it really depends on what you want to achieve. But what it does, it's just gonna make it a little bit more crisp. I don't know if you can actually see, yeah, you can see it. Just this is before and this is after, so it just gives that little bit more of a crispy feeling to the picture. Alright, we're gonna save it to the other picture. Save it as a JPEG. And there you go. Ready! Okay, I hope you liked it. I hope this helped a little bit. I know I'm not like the best teacher in the world, but it doesn't matter. This is my little insight. And if you just took away something, I'm happy about it. In any case, if you have any questions, let me know down below, or if you want me to elaborate something further, please let me know. And I will see you hopefully tomorrow. It's gonna be a little bit busy tomorrow and I'm gonna be in the car all day Saturday, so I don't know about Saturday, but I'm gonna record something on Saturday, so stay tuned. Alright, see you again hopefully tomorrow.